I am doing a series with people who are in our course community. So that is either our Inspired Organizer program, our Organizing Essentials program, or in some cases, as in today's cases, both courses. We have such an absolutely wonderful community. And I wanted to start introducing all of you podcast listeners to the organizers that are in our group because every single organizer has a fascinating story, no matter what their backstory is. And I just want to introduce you to these wonderful people and get inspired by their success and to get inspired by their businesses. So I would like to welcome my friend Nicole to the podcast today. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad to be here, Melissa. Thanks
Yeah.
for inviting me.
Oh my gosh, no problem. I am really thrilled to talk to you because I admire you so much for a ton of reasons. I'm super happy that I've gotten to know you in the last year or so. But your business is super, super successful. You're a mom of very young kids. I want to talk to you about all of that, like how you make it all work and how you put it together. But one of the things I love about you is you seem very calm and collected. And I know that's probably not the case. All of us have those moments, right? But you just seem to be like, I have this problem. Here's how I'm going to handle it. Period. The end. I love that about you. So I'm excited to talk to you today.
Thanks. I don't know that I would describe myself as calm and collected, but it's nice to know that I give off that persona, I guess.
Absolutely. Well, give us a little bit of your backstory. How did you arrive at organizing? How did you start your business? Where are you? All that good stuff.
So, a funny story, I actually started thinking about organizing in 2018 and I was really getting into it after organizing my own house. I thought this is definitely something that I can do because I know that there's so many other moms out there that just struggle with organizing their home and getting systems into place. So funny enough, I didn't have a full-fledged company at that time, but I put myself up on Thumbtack and I just put myself out there and I had gotten a client that said need help packing. So I didn't really know what I was doing. I just went there and I helped her as best as I could. And she was really happy with my results. But I don't know, I kind of felt a little nervous and packing wasn't really something that I loved to do. And after that, put it on the back burner. But it was always in my head I always wanted to organize, and I don't know what it was at that point. But then in 2020 or the end of 2019, I was like, "No, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do this." It's something that was always a passion of mine. I really wanted to see if I can have a company and just get up and do it. And in 2020, I just decided it was February, so we all know what happened after that.
We
But
sure do.
so did everything right. I started the business. I started marketing for it. Of course, COVID happened, but I did start getting clients in September of 2020 and it really took off from there. People were just they were coming left and right. And at the time I was working at a corporate job full time. So it was a lot for me to do my full-time job and work with the clients at the same time. But I knew that was something that I really wanted to grow and eventually do that full time. And I had found Jen YouTube, I think, and I started listening to her that whole year, trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to do to really get this to be off the ground so that I can work full time? And I found her, and then I found Inspired Organizer. At the time, I didn't sign up for Inspired Organizer because I thought maybe I'm not at that level yet that I needed that. But it was at that same time that you launched the Organizing Essentials,
Yep.
and I jumped at the chance. I said, "It's at a little bit lower price point that I could handle at the time," and I said, "I don't know if it's right for me, but I'm gonna jump in and just do it." So that's kind of how I got started with Pro Organizer Studio. I jumped in right at the time that you launched Organizing
Yeah.
Essentials.
Yeah, you were one of our very first students in organizing essentials. And the cool thing is that we had all these Zooms, like to kind of start it out. We did all these Zooms with people and like really got to know people, which is like my favorite thing is really getting to know the people in our community.
I loved the Zooms. I really tried hard to make it to almost every single one, especially in the beginning, because I just felt like there were other people who were going through the same thing that I was going through. And I was able to, one, just realize that I wasn't alone. I wasn't the only one who had the same questions. And I met a lot of great girls like Heidi. I remember talking to her in the beginning. We had a lot of phone calls discussing things back and forth. And I just remember feeling not alone.
Yeah.
Like there was a community of women who I could turn to for support.
The thing that I think is so important, and I didn't understand this because I had never been an entrepreneur before. I'd always had coworkers, right? Like you just had people, you would step out of your office and they were just there, right? And the thing that I underestimated when I started working on my own is you do need those people and you need people to know that, "Oh, I had this kind of weird thing happen to me." And someone else goes, "Oh my gosh, that has happened to me like 12 times. Here's how I learned how to deal with it." Or you just feel like, "Oh, maybe I'm the only person dealing with this." I don't care what it is, you're not. You're just not. And it's just nice to be able to say, "Hey, I had this great thing happen," or this weird thing, or "I'm confused on how to handle this." And someone's like, "Boom, here you go."
Yeah, we definitely bounce a lot of ideas off of each other, especially in the Zoom meetings and in the Facebook group. I feel like I got a solid foundation at that time. And it was the perfect timing for me because I really needed to know that I was doing things the right way and I needed more ideas to move my business forward.
Yeah.
It was really beneficial.
Well, so you said that after you launched your business, I mean, outside of the February 2020 thing, when things started being a little bit better, you kind of took off right away. What happened? What do you think you did that made that happen? Because a lot of people are looking for that magic sauce.
I think the best thing for me was posting in moms groups. So I know I mentioned this on one of our Zoom calls. I tried to join as many local moms groups as I could, especially in the areas where I wanted to work. So I would just join the group saying that I wanted a little bit more information about the area or I had a local business in the area. And then I would get into the groups and I would just share my social media content in the groups and it just drummed up a little bit of interest. And a lot of times moms would ask questions. How do you keep your playroom so organized? Or sometimes people would ask, do you have an organizer that you can recommend? And I would always comment and just make sure that people knew that my business existed. And I definitely got a lot of business in the beginning, especially from those moms groups.
You have definitely been one of the best people. There are some other people I know that have used that technique. You have used it extremely successfully, and I think the important thing is you did it in a really strategic fashion. It wasn't, I'm gonna post 200 times a day about my organizing business, and then people feel like, "Oh my gosh, okay, enough." But you're adding value to those groups, and something that I've recommended to people before is you could find a Facebook moms group and then say to the moderator, "Hey, I'd really love to b if you want to, I can give a presentation on keeping a playroom organized." Or you can reach out to some of those moderators and ask them if they want some free content, but those moms are craving the help that we provide. And I know I have been fortunate that I have been recommended in there's a very specific Facebook group in my area that's for doctor moms. It's very active, and when they recommend something, everybody jumps on it. I'm very fortunate that I've been recommended in that group a bunch. It has brought me a ton of business. So anything you can do to kind of get in those groups, by the way, it might be that you have a friend in one of those groups who then recommends you, but that kind of quiet networking is awesome.
Yeah, that actually brings up a good point. I did join a small business network in my town,
Mhm.
and there's other women in there who are also in some of these other moms
Yeah.
groups because they're trying to promote their business. So if we see someone looking for someone else's business, we're always going to just post and tag that other person and say, "Oh, this person has." There's a woman who she's got like a clothing store and she does drop off sometimes for like play dates, kind of like a play group. So if someone's looking for something to do with their kids, I'll tag that other mom and say, "Oh, so and so has this business," and they've done the same for me. So it's social capital, I guess, where other people are vouching for you and for your business. So it's good to make friends.
It
Really.
absolutely is. And it's another reminder that, and I've talked about this before, but I will talk about it forever, is telling other people in your personal circle what you do for a living and making sure they know you're a professional organizer because they are a part of moms groups that you aren't in. And one of my biggest clients that I've ever gotten was because a friend recommended me in her own mom's group that I didn't even know existed. So all of that quiet networking, and people hate the word networking. Doesn't have to be the awkward, I'm going to a mixer and I have to talk to someone for 2 minutes. That's not what networking is anymore. And you can do it in a way that really helps your business.
I've noticed that there's a lot more women entrepreneurs and a lot of women are doing the same thing that we're doing. We're just trying to get our business out there. And I think that we know that other women understand us.
Yeah.
So if you can align yourself with women who talk to other moms at the pickup line, I think it makes it a little bit easier because that's what we do as women. We try and lift each other up. And I'm always going to talk about the store in our town that sells the greeting cards because I know her son went to preschool with my daughter and I go in there and I buy her gourmet coffee because I know that she's a mom just like me, just trying to run her business. We're all in the same boat. So
Yeah.
if we help each other out, I feel like it comes back.
Totally agree with you on all of that. Well, tell us a little bit about, obviously you work with moms, you are a mom, but one of the things about you is you had a baby in the middle of also having a business and you managed to keep your business going while you were also having a baby. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I feel like things always happen at the right time for me. So right when I had gotten pregnant, that's when Kate had launched her Teams course,
Yeah.
and it was in the back of my mind, and I have a condition called hyperemesis. So when I'm pregnant, I can't
You
really do
can't do
anything.
anything.
Yeah, I'm extremely sick. So I just felt like I had built this business and I didn't want to lose the momentum that I had gained, and it was, like, terrifying. I was more worried about losing the business than I was about even being sick during pregnancy, and so when she launched that course, a light bulb moment came on and said, "I don't have to do it myself. I can delegate out." So I had to figure out how to do this. So I hired a couple of girls. One of them was actually a former client of mine. And so I knew her, I trusted her. I thought she was a great client and she really learned a lot with me. I felt good about hiring her. So she was able to take some clients for me and just work with those clients as the lead organizer without me even being there.
Yep.
So I did the hiring. I even did the consultations. I met with the clients. I took a lot of pictures. I basically wrote down like the plan for the organization for that client. And then all I did was just pass it along to my lead organizer and they took care of everything for that client. And it really freed me up to just take care of myself at that time. And it was really the best thing that I've ever done because it wasn't something that I thought that I could do. If I never got pregnant, I would never have even considered doing that because it's scary letting your business, turning it over to other people to handle. But it freed up a lot of my time and I was still able to bring in new clients at the same time. So it really helped. It helped me a lot.
And you were able to keep your business going while you were doing all of this. You didn't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I just started this business and now I have to stop it. You were able to keep it going and you were still able to do work when you were able to do work and still get clients done. And that's the most important thing is you're still able to service the clients and get them happy and get them done.
Yeah, and the clients didn't know. They didn't know any different. I went in there, I said, "This is how it works. I have a team. I will assign you a lead organizer. She'll come, she'll do a great job." And I was still in communication with my clients to
Mhm.
make sure that everything went smoothly, but I even let my organizers schedule the appointments with the clients so that I was just completely hands off at that time because I couldn't really manage all of the little details. I trusted these women to do a great job, and I hired women who were like me, who were moms who understood what it was like to manage a household, to manage kids, and I really just trusted them wholeheartedly with my business, and it worked out well for me, and I'm really glad that I did it.
I think one of the biggest hurdles people have with a team is how do you find the people? So like the client that you chose, did you have a discussion with her? Did you just have this feeling that you knew she'd be great? Did she ask you about it? How did that work?
So I followed everything that Kate told me to do in the course, almost to a T exactly, except for that I wasn't hiring for assistants, I was hiring for leads. And as soon as I posted it on my social media, I posted it on Indeed, and she actually reached out to me and she said, "I've been really thinking about this. I've been thinking about how you organized my house, and I would really love to help other moms the same way that you helped me." And she reached out to me and I got on the phone with her. I had a discussion with her about what I was looking for. I told her my situation and she was like, "Yeah, no, I wanna do this." And it worked out perfectly. So I'm really glad that she did reach out to me.
Yeah.
The other way that I found my other organizers was through Indeed, and there's very specific questions that Kate wants you to ask in an interview, so I just went with my gut,
Yeah.
honestly, with the other women, and it worked out well. So far so good.
Going with your gut is good advice, whether you're hiring someone, whether you're trying to figure out how to start your business, what kind of clients to get. Going with your gut always goes a really long way.
Yeah. And one of the women that I hired, I knew she was right for me because she answered the questions almost exactly the same way that I would have answered the
Yeah.
question. So I knew like she's saying the same things that are in my head if I were to be interviewed. So I knew that I had to bring her on my team.
Well, and I think too, someone who has been a client, I'm interested in the was a client now is doing this as an organizer because I mean, that's how I started my business is I was a disaster. I organized my house and then I go, well, I really like this. This is great. And I want other people to be happy like this. And so many of us have that story that we just learned how to do this and then realized we could help other people. So a client is a great example of they know exactly how you work. They know the power of the systems that you put in place. They know the power of the work that you do, and they can go out and really evangelize your services. I think it's awesome.
And the same thing with me. I went on my own organizing journey when I was in college, like right after college. I knew that I needed to get my house in order.
Yeah.
And going through that process yourself, it really sets you up to understand what other people need. So with her, and I did a lot of work with her. So she saw the entire process from decluttering to ordering the containers and setting everything up. She even understood time frames because we basically did her entire house and she was a great client and she saw the benefits. So she really wanted, just like me, she wanted to share that with other moms.
What are your favorite spaces to do? Obviously, since you really lean into the mom demographic, like I assume you do a lot of playrooms, but what are your favorite spaces to organize in a house?
I like pantries because I like figuring I'm crazy. I love the math. I love figuring out
Yeah.
the dimensions of everything. But one thing that I've gotten into lately, I've been working with a lot of moms who actually own their own businesses and either work from home or have some kind of side business. So organizing some things about their business, I really love that. Like
Yeah.
with one client, I actually had set up almost like a flow chart of how their money flows into their business and flows through different entities in their business and then flows into their personal accounts. Things that are not actually tangible organizing, but organizing of the actual business. Those kinds of things I really love. I love the systems and just the programs and just using all of your tools as a business owner. I love all of that. And I think it's because I love being a business owner. I love being an entrepreneur. I just love everything about it. Those are my favorite clients.
So I think that's an incredibly important point because I believe, and one of the things I have tried, hopefully successfully, especially to talk about in the Organizing Essentials program, is once you learn how to organize something, I don't care if it's a playroom, a basement, a garage, or you can organize someone's finances. I have organized someone's finances before. I have organized a business. I'm currently organizing a bakery. It's all the same process, right? It doesn't matter what it is. It's all the exact same process. You just have to flip your brain a little bit to say, okay, this isn't a closet, it's a commercial kitchen. What are the key things I need to do here? And I can tell as you are talking about it, it excites you to talk about it because you're really passionate about, oh, this really fills my cup. And so I think if you can find something, you don't have to say, oh, well, it's not a closet and it's not a kitchen, so it's not organizing. Yeah, it is. And you can do anything you want to. You could just have an entire business organizing people's digital photos. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's funny because I am organizing a bakery too, but it's
Yes.
a little bit different from yours. I'm not doing like the physical space. I'm doing their back end office with
Yeah.
which is a lot of paperwork, a lot of sorting through a lot of their financials too.
Yeah.
And that is I love doing that. I really love working with businesses and working with business owners.
Yeah.
And that's really my passion. I really love that a lot.
I've done it a few times like you have too. I also really love it, and one of the things that I think this is just a pitch to really think about all the parts of your every client, right, has something where you're like, "That gives me an idea." And this bakery that I'm working on, one of the things I did was an efficiency audit where I just went there on a Friday and a Saturday, their busiest days. I went at the crack of dawn, and I just watched them work. I just observed. I didn't do anything. I just stood there, tried to stay out of the way, sometimes unsuccessfully, but I just watched them work. And you can do that in a house, you can do that in a business. If you just watch things with an organizer's eye, you could say, that seems inefficient. That seems inefficient. We need a system for that. We need a system for that. It's a super fun way to use organizing in a different way.
Yeah, I love that. And I really do love that idea. It's almost like productivity too. And
Yes.
all of that, I love it. I love just seeing how other people function in their home and seeing how they function in their business and
Yep.
just making sometimes you just need a couple of tweaks to maybe don't put this item over here. If you had it next to your desk, maybe that would save you a little bit of time. Just tweaks like that. And sometimes they're just huge eye openers for the client. They never thought, like, I had a client who, even at a consultation, I think the reason why they hired me is because I walked into their house and I said, I see that you have a stack of mail here. Do you have a system for opening the mail? She's like, no, I don't open the mail. And her husband was like, yeah, maybe we should open the mail.
Yes, maybe you should.
Like, yeah, but with some people, it's so hard for them to understand that you need to have even if it's a simple system, you need to have some kind of routine
Yes.
for simple things like mail. And it's something that most people don't even think about. But putting the mail in the garbage is a very simple thing that people can do, but it's so hard for them to wrap their mind around it or to even come up with that idea of, hey, maybe I should just put a garbage can right by my door
Put a
because
recycling can. I just set up a mail system for a client, and they thought I was the smartest person on the entire planet because I said, "Here's what we're gonna do. You have a recycling bin here, we're putting a small shredder here, and we're putting garbage here." And they're like, "Oh my gosh."
yeah, sometimes they're just so overwhelmed with all of the things that they need to do that the smallest task, it doesn't even come to their brain,
Yeah.
and they need you to just give them simple solutions
Mhm.
that will really make a huge difference. Like, having a place to put your spam mail, it really is a life changer because it takes your mail pile from a huge stack to just the important things
Yeah.
like the bills, you know?
Well, and I know I'm weird. I love paperwork. If I could create an entire or I mean, I could do this, but I'm not going to. But I would do an entire organizing business just for people's paperwork. I love it. I never get tired of doing it. And the clients hate it. It's so overwhelming. And you're exactly right. Is that mail pile, because so many clients I have it, it's a ginormous mail pile. Maybe 5% of it is actually important and actionable. And just giving them that permission to be like, nope, you actually don't need a lot of this. You're overwhelmed by it because the pile looks like this, but you just bring it down to that. And those simple things, they're simple to us, but they're not simple to the client. And you bring that to them, and that is worth every penny they're paying you.
It really can be life changing when you can almost take your mail pile to a third or even a quarter. Because when you're staring at a huge mail pile, it's overwhelming for
It's
people. They
super
don't even want to deal with it.
yeah,
But if there's two pieces of mail in there that they can deal with in 5 minutes or less,
yeah.
that's a huge game changer for most busy families.
Also, I will add this pitch, and I give this pitch to clients a lot, is I say, especially if they're dealing with paperwork problems, I go, "I bet we'll find a ton of money." Because in almost every circumstance that I've worked on paperwork with clients, there's either literal actual money, like checks. I had a client once that found a $4,000 check. Tons of us have stories about tons of money that has been found. By the way, this tip came off of our Zoom from the other day. If you have a client you're working on paperwork with, have them check unclaimed funds in their state and their city/county, because tons of people actually on our Zoom call the other day, one of the organizers checked unclaimed funds and her husband had something. And so anyway, just if you're working with clients on that, it's a fun tip to sometimes find the money. But there is so much that people don't want to deal with in their mail pile, but they might have actual financial bonus. My client that found the $4,000 was like, "Oh my gosh, I have you paid times a bunch."
Yeah. And it's amazing when you can see in their face when they find something that they've been looking for a while.
100%. Yeah.
It's a really great feeling
Yeah.
when you can help them to do something that they've been trying to do for so long,
Yeah.
whether it's finding something that they lost or just having a clear floor, like
Yep.
making them feel good about their space it's a really great feeling for me. So organized because I'm selfish and I like
We're all selfish because we all get something out of it. If you can watch a client look lighter, it's hard to explain. If you're a newer organizer, you might not have seen it yet, but you can see their faces, like you said, you can see it on their faces. You can see them stand up straighter. It's a physical reaction when they feel better about their house. It's amazing.
yes, absolutely. A great feeling.
Really quick story that no one asked for. One of my favorite stories about finding something that they had been looking for is I had a client and we had just hundreds of boxes that we were going through in a storeroom. And I would bring him the box, he would go through it, whatever. And I find a box and I bring it to him and he goes, "Oh," he goes, "This is china that I accused my ex-wife of stealing from me." 15 years ago. And and the
Wow.
way he was telling the story, I'm like, you could tell it probably went very badly and was very dramatic. And in fact, it was in his house the whole time.
It's amazing the things that you'll find sometimes.
Well, I love what you said about I do this job because I'm selfish because you like making people happy. And there's this, I know I'm older than a lot of people in this group, but I used to watch the show Seinfeld is one of my favorite shows. And there's a whole episode about you can't really do anything, like you can't really volunteer for charity because you're actually getting something out of it. Like there's nothing you can do that's truly selfless. And
Yeah.
I always think that about our job. I'm actually not that selfless and nice. Like I do this because I get so much out of seeing other people be so happy. And same thing about coaching, organizing clients. Like I'm so happy when I have someone that I know who like you who have just made their business so successful. It really just makes me so happy.
It kind of puts you in that, like they talk about that flow state where
Yeah.
you're just happy doing something that it doesn't really feel like work anymore,
Yeah.
and that's how I feel about talking about business and talking about organizing and actually doing the organizing, like, I just love it all, and if I could do that all day long every day, I would.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Well, where do you see your business going? So, like, if I talk to you at Halloween next year, what are you going to be doing in your business, do you think?
A couple of things that I've been, thinking about is maybe doing some paper organizing workshops. I kind of started launching that a little bit, but I haven't really gotten it off the ground yet. So I really want to work on that, having some more virtual workshops just to kind of branch out a little bit. And I definitely want to grow my team. So right now I just have the lead organizers, but I would really like to take on some really big jobs and have some assistants come with me. So we have an actual team going into homes and doing it all together and just knocking out a big project in a couple of days. So that's really where I want to focus, just growing the team and growing my paper organizing and just continue to get more of those business clients because I think that's really something that I love. So maybe if I were to do more of the business clients myself and then have my team go out and do the actual home organizing,
Yeah,
I think that's where I'm heading.
I love it.
Like the fact that you can offer different parts, like you don't have to just go and organize a home. There's so many different
So many.
elements
Yeah.
to organizing that everyone can start to think about for their own business. So adding on paper, organizing with businesses, even photo organizing. There's so many different things that you can do and there's a lot of possibilities and to just focus on home organizing is great, but there's so many more clients out there that need you. I feel like everybody wishes that they could hire an organizer, so I feel like everybody is potential.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of whether they value, like, having you come in and spending the money.
Yes.
Like, how much do they really want to spend the money on it? But I feel like everybody watches the Netflix shows, and
Completely.
everybody wants an organizer, that everybody wants and that's why, like, Pinterest is such a big thing, that's why Marie Kondo is such a big thing. Everybody wants it.
Yeah, I had a consultation yesterday where the woman was very upfront. She was awesome, and I am excited I'm going to her house in a couple weeks, but she said very directly, "My husband thinks this is ridiculous, and he's really questioning why." Because she had done a lot of it on her own, but she has that last little set of stuff that she's like, "I just can't get past it, and I need someone to help me get past that block." And that's my jam. And she's like, "My husband is questioning, why are we spending this money?" And I was trying to tell him that I could go online and learn how to do sit-ups on YouTube, but I also have a trainer because I'm not gonna do it if I don't hire someone. I was like, "Yeah, because no one wants to do sit-ups, literally no one." So
Yeah.
it's just sometimes you have to explain to people why this is an important thing, and they can't sometimes explain, like, "Yes, you could do it yourself, but you're not for some reason. And I'm here to help you get over that hump."
It was like I don't know if you saw that meme in 2020 that was like, "I wanted to get organized, but I needed to find the time, and
Yeah,
now that I have the
that
time,
wasn't the problem.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's why people are hiring us
Yes.
because they could have organized, but they
Yeah.
either don't have the time or they don't have the mental bandwidth to really do it. They're just stressed out. They've got a lot of other things going on. It's not a priority for them, but it's always something that's weighing in the back of their mind. Every time they open up their closet and their clothes fall out and they can't get dressed in the morning, it weighs on them a lot.
Yeah.
But if their closet was organized, their life would be so much easier. Their home would just feel easier.
The word that I hear 100% of the time is overwhelmed, and I think that the biggest thing is that people look at the stuff and they have no earthly idea where to start. I feel like sometimes my job is just to get the ball rolling and just to show them that it isn't like if you just start, then you show them a way to start, then it really frees them up to go, "Oh, wait, I actually understand now how this works." And so, especially for someone who budget may be an issue and they don't have a lot of money to hire you. Or I am going to a client this afternoon that she was very upfront. She goes, I really can only afford $500. And I'm like, great, we will develop a plan for you that works with that, because she was so eager about, I want to change and I want to be different. I will help those people all day long. That is what makes me happy. But not everyone can afford thousands of dollars to get their house done, but if I can help them get the ball rolling, that makes me really happy.
That brings up a good point because I don't know if you've noticed this, but sometimes when I go into a client's home, by the next session, they've already done some organizing. It's like
Totally.
it's contagious.
It
Like
is.
they see what I've done, they wanna continue because they really feel motivated. It's such a motivating and contagious thing for clients to see you come in and do what you're doing. And even if I've done a playroom before and the client says, "Oh, I want you to see my pantry because I just organized it last week after you left because I was just so excited about getting things straightened up in my house." I mean, I would love for her to have organized to hire me to organize her pantry, but the fact that she was so motivated by just me coming in,
Yeah,
that's a great feeling too. So,
totally.
I love that.
Well, and also, obviously, I would love to have clients that are like, I want you to do my entire house and I don't care how much it costs. And please come here 3 days a week for the rest of your life. Like, obviously, we all want those clients from a business perspective. But I'm also always really happy when I have that client that you're talking about, that I see that they actually did some stuff while I was gone, or a client that actually did the homework that I assigned to them, which I do sometimes, and they actually get it done, right? It makes me happy because it means it I know that I'm making a difference and I'm showing them that, and it also makes me feel like they will keep it up when I'm gone. I also love maintenance clients, by the way. I love coming in 6 months later and giving them a restart, but as much as I can teach people how to do this, I feel like I'm living my purpose.
Yeah, it's such a great feeling, and when they have that excited energy, you're
Yeah,
more excited to go back to their house because
totally.
you know that they see the value in what you're offering, and they're happy to see you. They're
Yes,
happy that you're coming to their house, and they know that you're helping them,
yes.
and just that whole thing, it makes you feel really great about all of it.
It's also a reminder, going way back to the beginning of this conversation, where you're really, all of us are working so that we can get referrals from very happy people. And when you make a client very happy, whether that is you stick within their budget or you transform their entire house and you give them an Instagram worthy pantry, whatever it is that you're doing, those people are happy people and they will start to talk about you. And that is how the whole cycle works.
You've gotta keep your clients happy so that they tell their friends about you, and they tell everyone at the pickup line at school.
Right. So, if you had to go back to the beginning, like whether it's 2018 or February of 2020, what are some things that you would tell yourself knowing what you know now?
I was really afraid to show my face for a while. Like, I was one of those people who hid behind my logo,
Yeah.
which people don't really want to just hire a company that they don't really know anything about. They need to know who are you and what's your story. And I'm still working on that myself, but I did have professional pictures taken. So I put my face on my website, which I didn't do in the beginning. And I just feel like I'm more relatable to my clients when I can tell them, yes, I have a 10-month-old baby and a 5-year-old. So my house looks a little crazy too,
Yeah.
but I can relate to you because I know how to put the systems into place to keep things from getting completely out of control. But it was where you are.
It's about telling your story, and
Yeah.
people underestimate how much you're exactly right. If someone is hiring us to come into their home, which is very personal, and we're going to be in their underwear drawer and like seeing every part of their house. And I try to encourage people that even if you feel personally uncomfortable with it, I know some of us don't like, by the way, I'll throw myself on the internet anywhere, but some people are less open than I am about it. And just the power of saying, here's who I am. Hi, I'm Melissa. This is my story. This is why I know I can help you. I'd love to chat with you. People connect with that no matter what your story is. So, in the same way that you are hopefully connecting with what Nicole is saying today and going like, oh my gosh, I feel that way too, or this is my journey too. Think about that is how a client needs to see you too. And they want to see you. And it doesn't matter if we're all self conscious about something, every single one of us. And so it doesn't matter, like, if you're not really happy with your hair or how you look or whatever, just please get some professional pictures taken, put yourself on your website and tell your story. I swear it will be like a huge thing for you.
When people know who you are, they feel less judged. If people can see, yes, I have kids who make a mess,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to go to your house and judge you for your kid's mess, because
Correct.
I know what a mess looks like. I know that it's normal. And I tell my clients all the time, I see this every day. I want to have a relationship or have a connection with the client so that they know that I'm also human too, that my house isn't Pinterest perfect all the time either.
That is something people ask me that a lot. I was in an Uber the other day and the guy's like, "What do you do?" And I said, and he's like, "Well, your house is perfect then." And I'm like, "No, my house isn't perfect. No one's house is perfect unless you have hired help that is there 24 hours a day." Like, no
You
one's
don't
house
touch
is
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, my husband's a messy guy. My kids, my daughter likes to cut up little piece of paper. So
Of
I
course.
don't like. I'm afraid for people to come into my house and see all the little tiny pieces of paper and crafts and everything all
Yeah.
over the place. But the difference between having my home be organized and someone else who still needs the help is that I can pick up the mess in maybe 5 or 10 minutes.
5 minutes. Yep.
Yeah, and I know where everything goes because it all has a place to go, and my daughter knows where things go, so she can really help put things away.
A content idea for everybody. I did this one time. Our kitchen junk drawer, which everybody has. I heard someone call it an opportunity drawer one time, and I'm like, no, it's a junk drawer. That's what it is. But it was a disaster. I looked at it and I'm like, oh, this is really bad. And I was like, oh, I'm just gonna take a video of me. I'm gonna show the disaster that it is, and then I'm gonna time myself and say, I was able to get it back in order in 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. And that's the key of organizing. And so those are the things. And also it makes you relatable because you're like, yeah, I have messes sometimes too, but let me tell you the key of being organized. It's that it gets back to being organized in a short period of time.
And when you have the routines in place to pick it up and put it back, then it doesn't get overwhelming.
Yep.
But if you also don't have the routines, we do the maintenance,
Yeah.
so we come
Right.
back and help you also.
It's just a reminder there is a lid to every pot, as they say. So every client is going to need something different. And you may work yourself out of a job with one client, but then, I mean, I've worked myself out of a job with many people, but I also have a client that I go to her house about every 3 weeks because her clothes are always on the floor and she doesn't like hanging them up. And so she has paid me a ton of money over the last 4 years to do this for her. And that's important to her. And it works for me, and everybody wins.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you need to cater to the client and what their actual needs are. So, yeah, and that's why I like the maintenance too, because you can continue to grow that relationship with that client. So, I
Totally.
like that.
Yeah.
I do want to say that I got a lot of benefit from the Organizing Essentials course because it really helped me to think about different aspects of my business, like where to take donations. So there's a whole module about just thinking about where in your area can you take donations and just other things to think about, like thinking about the client's state of mind and working with them through maybe they're going through emotional things. So just having the course really helps me to just to remember that there's so many different things that you need to consider when you're actually going into a client's home and just figuring out what that specific client really needs and just kind of holding their hand through the whole process. It was really beneficial.
Well, I have loved having you in there. I love talking about I mean, seriously, I love talking about organizing. That's why I made the course. I love talking about like the nuts and bolts of organizing, but I do think it's important that even if you're going in someone's home and all you're doing is just making them have a beautiful pantry, there's always something behind that, right? They're frustrated about something, something isn't working for them in their home. Whatever that looks like, it doesn't matter what project it is, you are going in and you're transforming, whether it's a space or their whole house. And I just think that is an honor, and I'm glad that we get to do it every day. So,
I love it.
yes.
So excited that I got to talk to you today mostly.
Yes, I know. I love talking to you. I could talk to you for hours, but you have other things to do, like life and a business. Where can people find you on the great wide internet?
So my business is Own Your Space Professional Organizing. I'm here in New Jersey. You can find me at ownyourspacepo.com, and I'm also on Facebook and Instagram at Own Your Space PO. Yeah,
Awesome. Well, we will all follow you, and I just appreciate you talking to us. I know people got a ton out of it, and we hopefully we have inspired people between the two of us to like go organize a business and go organize some paperwork and get excited about it. That's what I
yeah,
hope.
awesome.
All right.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Yeah, bye.